I think it's very clear that Donald Trump is not fit to serve as president and commander-in-chief of the United States at this point. And I have called for the use of every possible tool to remove Trump from his position, whether that's the invocation of the 25th Amendment, which would require the cabinet acting, impeachment, which would require Congress to act. And we are planning to put another war resolution on the House floor as soon as we're able to vote to end the war. And so we're looking at all constitutional means to rein in Trump and to stop him from committing crimes. As a Democrat, the ball is in the court of the Republicans. They control the executive branch, they control the Senate, they control the House, and we have not seen our Republican colleagues being willing to take a public stance to hold the president accountable. And so we're calling on the speaker, on the leadership, and on our Republican colleagues, both in the cabinet and in the Congress, to take action now. I think that we are in complete unanimous agreement, at least in the House caucus, that we need to be called back immediately. You've probably seen the statements from our leadership, and all across social media platforms today, we've been calling for the speaker to call us back. This is not unlike the emergencies that we had in the fall during the government shutdown. And it's not clear at this point whether or not Johnson will take any action. We've seen time and time again that as an ally of the president, he's been unwilling to do anything that would cross Trump. But there's certainly among the caucus, the internal conversation is that this is a full-scale emergency, and we need to do everything we can to come back in session and put pressure on our Republican colleagues to act.
These are war crimes. To bomb civilian sites like this, of course, we still are reeling from the mistaken bombing of a school in Iran in the early days of the war. I don't know how to convey to my Republican colleagues any more than I have already. They have to stand up to this.
8 p.m. on the East Coast. Now, this is the exact minute President Trump had set as the deadline for launching the destruction of Iran's civilization. Bombing it back to the Stone Ages is what he had threatened. The latest of a string of threats and deadline extensions dating back to the 21st of last month. 4 bellicose threats, all of which rattled markets and shocked consciences and ultimately were not followed through on. Tonight, though, after promising what many legal scholars pointed out would likely be a war crime, the president posted this online. It's lengthy. I want to read it to you in full. It begins, based on conversations with Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and Field Marshal Asim Munir of Pakistan, and wherein they requested that I hold off the destructive force being sent tonight to Iran and subject to the Islamic Republic of Iran agreeing to the complete, immediate, and safe opening of the Strait of Hormuz, I agree to suspend the bombing and attack of Iran for a period of 2 weeks. This will be a double-sided ceasefire. The president goes on. The reason for doing so is that we have already met and exceeded all military objectives and are very far along with a definitive agreement concerning long-term peace with Iran and peace in the Middle East. He adds, we received a 10-point proposal from Iran and believe it is a workable basis on which to negotiate. Almost all of the various points of past contention have been agreed to between the United States and Iran, but a 2-week period will allow the agreement to be finalized and consummated. The president closes with, on behalf of the United States of America as president and also representing the countries of the Middle East, it is an honor to have this long-term problem close to resolution. Thank you for your attention to this matter. A short time later, a senior White House official told CNN that Israel is on board with this, answering one key question, even though just moments ago we got reports of more incoming missile fire from Iran. We'll have a live report from Tel Aviv shortly. Iran's National Security Council has also weighed in, saying in a statement that Iran has achieved a great victory and forced the United States to accept its 10-point plan. Iran's foreign minister added this online. I hereby declare on behalf of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, if attacks against Iran are halted, our powerful armed forces will cease their defensive operations. He continues, for a period of 2 weeks, safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz will be possible via coordination with Iran's armed forces and with due consideration of technical limitations.
Yeah, I disagree with the statement. I think it's pretty evil. I don't think he, as the president, has that authority. He's not God, and he's kind of acting like Stalin right now. So, I know he wants what's right for the country, but he dug a hole that he can't dig out of, and I don't think violence is the answer. So yeah, I did vote for him, but I never thought we'd be in a war. I think back in the day, like everything just snowballed, you know. So I don't know. I don't like where we're at right now as a country. I don't like how he's acting. I think he's acting like authoritarian, you know. So, but you know, it's out of my control. You know, we can do what we can do, but yeah, it's scary though. I don't know what's gonna happen. It's kind of Iran's a big country with, you know, they're Persia. Iran's Persia, and Persia beat the Spartans. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, this country's so young, and I feel like that we are probably not taking our cues from the Roman Empire. You know, I think we're kind of spreading ourselves thin, making enemies where we don't need to make enemies, all for oil and money. So Iran's probably top 5 in oil producing countries along with Venezuela. So I feel like that's probably the trend. And of course, I don't know that for sure, but these are just my thoughts. And basically, I think we just need to take some cues from the Roman Empire, or this young country will fall before we get a chance to really realize our potential.
It was when NATO just wasn't there. They just weren't there. It's going to make a lot of money.
And potentially up to $500 billion extra in defense spending. And then, of course, you had Keir Starmer here.
They're not going to be fighting each other. They've had it. They've had a big fight, like 2 kids in a schoolyard. You know, I just want to tell you, NATO treated us very badly, and you have to remember, because
播报新闻是我的日常，必须时刻保持妆容和皮肤的最佳状态。当来到人生中最重要的时刻，也是 KS 逆时奇迹帮助我轻松驾驭，闪闪发光。KS 逆时奇迹活肤露全效精华、精华霜，多达5种 EGF 6大冻龄关键成分，保湿效果让我非常满意，小细纹也不再困扰我。我就是我自己的最佳女主角 ，KS 让我从容自信，光彩动人。我是我人生中的大女主，我的最爱我做主。KS 逆时奇迹系列热卖中，下单请上快点购，透过中天新闻网 App 下单立减50，或输入 CTI 推荐码有额外折扣。